Hey, Sweet Mornings community. It's your short and sweet EA Danny. Although today I feel I'm here more as an athlete. It's still weird to kind of say that. I wasn't an athlete in high school, but I'm here today with Coach Hector Torres of Tri-Peak Athlete, an elite coaching program. He's wearing the shirt today and he's joining us. Yeah, he's joining us all the way from France. So this is also the first virtual interview that Sweet Mornings is hosting, and I'm really excited. So, Coach, and yes, he's also my tri coach. So, Coach, thank you
Yes.
so much for being with us this today.
I'm very excited to be here. And I'm like, get ready to share this journey with you.
So you are in France right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's world, is right?
Yes, it's the Ironman World Championship. So this year is going to be the last year in which they divide the men and the women. So the women will go to Kona this year, and the men are competing at Nice in France, Nice. So, and it's spelled nice. That's how it's spelled, Nice. And so it's Nice, France, and it's beautiful over here. The people are great. You know, the French are not that snobby as many people they say, but it's the croissants are amazing. You definitely have to try them. But it's great. It's beautiful.
It's a carb loader's dream as well as a carb
Yes,
lover's.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So really quick, because this is the first virtual one, I feel like I don't know if you've seen the memes where I'm on where like, oh, you're on the Zoom call, but all you're doing is like looking at yourself. It feels
Yeah,
so
exactly.
different.
It's love because
But
you're like, how am I talking? Yes, I love it.
yeah, exactly. Now I can see myself rather than
Exactly.
afterwards. Yes.
Exactly.
So let's just dive right into it. You turned your passion for fitness into a thriving career. And let's start at the beginning though. Were you, because I've done a little dive, not a deep dive, but a little dive into your background. And I believe you started with bodybuilding. Am I right?
Yeah, I started with bodybuilding, weightlifting at the time, because I was a really big boy. I was a big boy growing up. I was extremely overweight. I was 263 pounds. I was the age of 18. And when I went to get my physical, my doctor said, if you want to live by the age of 30, you better start losing some weight because you're very close to type 2 diabetes and high cholesterol, and you're only 18. And that was like a huge wake up call for me. And I was like, all right, so let's get started. So I just started walking. And I started walking, then I started jogging. And then when I saw this lady pass me, I'm like, well, if she could do it, I could do it too. And then as soon as that got into underneath my skin, I started working out. And back in the day, you have Men's Fitness Magazine and all these magazines out there to be fit. And I tried to get involved into the bodybuilding world. And little did I know that it was just like, all right, I was just weightlifting. And I was like, okay, great. I'm like, what can I get into next? And then I got into modeling. And then because I lost a lot of weight, so then I lost 100 pounds. I lost 100 pounds and I got really, really skinny. And and then they're like, well, I'm like, you can model. Then I did a few modeling gigs here and there, and um then I got introduced into the triathlon sport. I was a friend of mine says, you should come watch me. I'm doing a relay. I was like, a relay, what is that? And then he's like, well, I'm going to do a triathlon. I'm like, really? And when I went to see him, I saw all people's shapes and sizes during this race. And I was like, well, I'm like, and I saw this person run by, and I was like, well, if she could do it, I could do it too. And then that's how it all started. But little did I know that how difficult it was because when I did my first race, I didn't finish it. And yes, no, no, my God, no. I got in the water and I'm like, yes, I could do this. Got in the water, got kicked in the face. My goggles flew out, and I invited all my family and friends. All my family and friends were there and they were excited. They're like, come on, Hector, you can do it. So I was getting really big because I wanted to get my first bodybuilding show at the time. And so, and they're like, where's Hector? We can't see Hector coming out of the water. But then they saw far ahead in the beginning where everyone started, they saw this lifeguard helping this big dude. coming out of the water. And I was just like, I was petrified. I was like, oh. And so we all have that fear of being that fat little kid again. That voice is like, oh my God, you're being last picked. You're like ridiculed, being fun, made fun of. I was like, and all this flooding trauma came back. And I was like, ugh. And I just sat by the beach, and my family's like, what happened? What happened? Well, you didn't finish. And I was like, we're all here. And I was like, ugh. And they're like, it's okay. Don't worry. You're not a loser.
You're
Don't
like, I
worry.
wasn't
You're
thinking
not a
that, but
loser.
okay.
But and and of course my brothers are relentless. They're like, you're that's just embarrassing. They're like, ugh. So, but I was determined. I was determined to do it. So then I signed up for a whole series. And I have to tell you
So
though,
you
the
just
people who
went in
yes,
wholeheartedly.
I exactly because when you get people who get into triathlon, they've gone through trauma. People who do long distance stunts, you've done something hurt you in your life that you have to prove to yourself that you're capable of overcoming it. And that's what happened, you know. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna sign up for 4 races. And I was like, oh my goodness, I have 4 weeks to learn how to swim. And what takes me now, what, 6, 7 minutes to do a 400-meter swim? On that second attempt, it took me 45 minutes. 45 minutes. I swam and then I'll hold on to the buoy. And the lifeguard was swimming. They're like, can you just like swim a little bit more? And I'm like, I'll swim a little more. And I'm like, oh, I'm out of breath. And then when I come out of the water, I was like the last person. And there was only one person there like, and I was like, I got out of the water. I'm happy. I'm happy. Let's go for it. And then the rest was history. And I was like, I made it to myself that I don't want anyone to go what I went through because it was the fear of not able to accomplish something that you want to pursue, the the disappointment that was like, look, once you started, you can't finish it. I was like, and they told me they're like, look, give me the chip. You can't finish this. I'm like, no, I can do it. No, no, give me the chip. And it was like, I'm handing over the chip. It was like, ah. But then it took me 45 minutes that year, the second attempt, then shave it down to 12 minutes, and then start trickling down to where I am today. But it is a passion, that is a drive that you see me, any race that I attempt that I'm coaching, you'll see me at the swim exit, screaming at people to get out of the water. I was like, and I'm like, get out of the water. Come on, you got this. You know, we all have fear of the unknown when you're standing at the starting line and you're just like your eyes are watering up and you're like, am I able to do this? And you have insecurities, you have all these little demons that come by that you says you can't, all these bullies that happened at school that we're traumatized by, they're going to make fun of you. But it's all this noise that we just have to shut out and just look, I'm doing this for myself. And when you start to just focusing on yourself, anything is possible. And since then, it became a passion. So yeah, that's how I got all started.
You're sitting here, or we are sitting here talking, and I went back to my first try because it's Brian. When Brian and I first started dating, and you have that question, like, what do you want to do? Like 5 years, what's on your bucket list and your dreams and all that. You're getting to know the other person. He mentioned, I would love to do a triathlon. I'd love to do a half Ironman. And I'm like, great. So I remember when he told me some of my friends are signing up for a sprint try, and I was like, go for it. Like, I am the person, if you tell me your dreams, I will support you 100% and cheer you on. So I was like, go for it. And I saw him do it, and I thought what you thought. I was like, I could do that. Like, I know how to swim. I haven't swam since I was, a teenager, and I'm here now almost 40, but I could do that. It's not a long swim. And so I did a couple months later, my first sprint try. And oh my gosh, I thought I was going to die in the pool. I thought I was going to drown. No one was going to see me. My whole family wasn't there, but my husband was there. I'm like, were we married? We weren't even married yet. I'm like, here, he's going to just see me die. And he has a picture that he took where I'm on the last, because it's sprint try. So of course you're doing the laps
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
the lane, and I'm in the last lane, and I'm just looking over, and I have this look on my face like I'm scared. And so after that, I realized, well, if I want to do a try, I am going to have to get professional help. I'm whenever again, quickest line to success, I've said it so many times, is just to find someone who's done the thing. And by the grace of God, I heard a podcast that you were on, and your story and journey resonated and reached out. And that's how we are now working together today.
I know.
Yeah, and now we're training for that first half Ironman in December, and I'm listening to you talk about grabbing onto the buoy, and that is just we haven't discussed this, but that's my plan of attack for the pool, or the
The
water,
half.
the ocean. Like, you know what? I can just grab onto a kayak or a buoy, and it'll be fine.
And you know what? And if it's wetsuit legal, you just have to float. As simple as that. That's all. So
Just gotta
make
get
sure, hopefully.
right. And I just here's the life lesson. Just there's sometimes you just got to get through something to move on to the next thing. I know I can cycle. I know I can run. I just need to get through this.
I know. And as I tell everyone, go ahead. No, I was always saying that, as I tell everyone, if you're consistent in getting in the water, it's all about becoming familiarize yourself. And once you start building that routine, I'm like, all right, I'm going to get in the water 20 minutes. And when it comes to race week coming up, I'm telling my athletes, get in the water 20 minutes every day because I want you to feel the water, become one with the water. And so when it comes to jump in the water, you're like, all right, I got this. And just feel confident with it about yourself. That's
So
what you got to do.
that that brings me to my next question because obviously I'm a beginner triathlete, and so my approach is different from someone that you've probably been coaching a few years now. I Do you have an athlete right now with you at Nice as well?
Yes, I do. Yes.
You
Michael
do,
Malta.
yes. And so
Yes.
obviously he's elite and at a much different level than I'm at. So when you are sitting down and coming up with plans, how do you tailor your approach for these different athletes?
When you tailor your program, for example, I have one workout that I could give you, and it could be the same workout that I'll give to them. For example, if we're doing a tempo effort. However, if I give you a percentage, his percentage of his effort, for example, his functioning threshold power, if we're using a power meter on the bike, we measure power, and his power numbers could be different than yours. So if tell him, give me 75%, his 75% is very different to your 75%. So the efforts can be very similar. However, when we start adapting to our training, our threshold starts increasing. That's when the word consistency comes into play. And it's like when the athletes becoming more consistent with their training, I could give them more volume. And so I could give them more volume, I could increase intensities, I could give them more duration. I could tell them I cannot tell them give me a 6 mile run because for someone who's much more advanced could do it in 40, 45 minutes. But if I'm training for a full, I says, okay, we're training for time. But for a person who's a beginner, let's go for focusing on distance because we need to focus on completing the distance and building that endurance. So I'm like, it all comes down to adjusting the training based upon the individual's adaptation.
Hmm. So that
So
takes, yeah, that
go
takes
ahead.
a lot of trust on the athlete's part. That takes a lot of trust on your part that, you're trusting the athlete is meeting the level of the workout, the athlete's trusting that you understand where they are at. And so I would like to just double click on that a little bit because and sometimes for a coach, you're also navigating the emotions of that athlete, the where that athlete is at in their life. Some of them, going through life changes. And how do you find yourself being there?
Communication is key. Communication is going to be extremely crucial when you get to, for example, you could be the most experienced athlete in the world, but if you're going through a breakup, if you're going through something so difficult in your life, you have to like, okay, assess the situation because if there's something emotionally, because there, for example, 2008, we had the Olympics at the triathlon. We had great contenders. We had Hunter Kemper, we had Maddie Reed headed to the start line. However, Maddie Reed wasn't mentally there. He was the strongest one out of all of them, but he underperformed completely, but because he got in his head. And that's why when I tell people you have to shut down the noise because that is the biggest thing. That's when mental training comes into place. I mean, visualization, positive self-talk, because you could do all the training in the world, but if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe that you're going to be able to do it, I'm like, that's when I ask all of my athletes, what is your why? why are you doing this? Is it because of the medal? Is it because of, I'm like, why are you doing this? I'm like, what are you trying to prove? And if whatever your why is, let's build on that and become the best version of yourself. Unfortunately, we allow social media, we allow all this other noise to come out to dictate of how we're supposed to live. That when we get to one goal, we're like, okay, fine, and then we allow all this other noise to start, I'm like, growing into this pocket. And when we just have to like empty the pocket and remember your why, and just
What
like
is
reach
your
down in your, pardon?
No, I was like, what is your why? Like, what got you to Nice? Uh-huh.
My why has always been being a great example to my athletes, leading by example. I'm like, if they tell me the word can't, I say, watch me. Because I don't look like the regular athlete. As you see, I'm much bigger than everyone else. When I walked in the stadium, everyone was like, what is that? And everyone's like, yes, I'm a big dude, but watch me. Because it's like, look, I like my size. I'm like, it's not, I'm like, I'm not going to win first place. I know that for a fact that in an Ironman race, I could do well in a sprint distance race. I could do well. And I used to be extremely fast, but right now my why is to show the world that I'm making the impossible possible. That when people see me on the run course, they're like, I'm like, where do you come from? And yes, I look like an ox running down. I was like, yes, I'm built like a brick. Watch me, but I am keeping I'm moving forward. And it's that's one example that I try to live is like, look, if you tell me that I can't do it, watch me. Watch me prove you wrong. Because it's like that, that's, it's is the interest, it's stepping out, showing proving the people wrong. It's like back when we were coming when I was coming out of the closet back in the early 2000 1998. I'm like being accepted I'm like being rejected by society. You're trying to prove that you look, I'm a regular human being. I just wanted to be accepted by everyone else. And then when I learned that I don't have to be accepted by anyone else. I am just have to be who I am. And it's leading by example to my athletes has been driving me. And now that in addition to me coaching regular athletes, I coach Special Olympic special need kids, and watching them just strive, and they look, they're it's for the Special Olympics, they have an oath that says, let me win, but if I cannot win, watch me do my best or watch me succeed. I'm like, I just destroyed it, by the way. I just destroyed, but it's like, it's the term is like, um, giving them a chance that when they do these games, they know they're not going to win, but let them watch them on the attempt to try. And that is like when you see these kids that have been neglected the entire life, they have heard the word no so many times, then you're like, you know what? Let me help you. And that's when I started working with them. And I had my first Special Olympic athlete complete the Ironman, Florida, Chris Nikic. I'm like, and then since that trickling effect worldwide, kids have been getting involved within the sport because someone showed them that it is possible, that you only have to believe in them. And yeah, I made it a little bit long, but that has become my why, just giving hope and making the impossible possible.
Oh my gosh. I'm okay. That's it. This interview's over. I'm getting ready to go like run right now. You're like, good.
Go.
Oh my gosh.
Do
So
it for the whales.
yeah, exactly. Yes. So if someone out there is listening and they're in I remember when we first talked, you said, I need you to reframe your mindset and I need you to think that you're going to start training like an athlete. And I didn't tell you this, but out of the conversation we had that day, other than you telling me I needed to work on my hip mobility, which I know I still need to do, the the thing that resonated the most was that I need you to start training like an athlete. And that was hard because, and even today it's still hard because I was that person that was over 200 pounds in high school. I, you know, I was talking to a friend last night, and because I have another life change coming up, but again, if anything, being on a fitness journey has taught me how resilient I can be. And she goes, go out and make a list of things that you wanted and actually came to be. And in that moment, I was taken back to high school and I wanted to run cross country. It looked like a lot of fun. I know running looks like fun. What? But that is my preferred sport. And now I'm doing it. As to where back in high school, I didn't. I was scared. I was intimidated by the word athlete. And so if someone out there is listening and they have that drive, they've thought about it, but they're scared, they're intimidated by the word athlete, how would you get them to overcome that hurdle?
When we have hurdles in life and we have this cloudy storm in front of us, no matter what happens, we have to go through the storm. And when we go through the storm, we can become a best version of ourselves. And my question is for them to say, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to strive? And this is when the coach comes into place, and the coach comes into place and says, take my hand and trust me. Let me help you become the best version of yourself. There are days you're not going to like me because I'm going to push you to do something that you're not used to. And exercise is it's controlled failure. And we don't like to fail. We always want to get that ribbon. We want to make ourselves feel good. But when we exercise is controlled failure because you're taking your muscles to failure, because you're taking them out of their comfort zone. So if I tell you, if you're going to fall, don't fall backwards, fall forward and get up again. Because it's not how hard you fall, it's how you get up again. And your coach will be there. Take my hand and trust me because I've done it. I know it. I know the excuses you're going to give me. I know the reasons you're like, oh, work is going to get away. And all this life gets in the way. And the first thing we do is we give up exercise. But do you give up brushing your teeth? Do you give up, like wiping your ass? No, you don't. You do it regardless. And like exercise is maintenance to your body and longevity. And especially when we start getting older, we have to start. I'm like, look, I don't want to be a crippled person not able to walk. Oh, I fell in my toilet and I can't get up. We don't want that. It's all about the older we get, it's about longevity. I'm like, the older people, when they start retiring, they stop moving, they stop living. They're like, oh, I retired. I don't need to do that anymore. I was like, no. I was like, that is when you hit, that's the next chapter of your life. So for those who are listening right now, and for those who are afraid, pick up the phone, send me a message, or find a coach within your area that will allow you to help you achieve the dreams that you want. But at the same time, they're not going to be your cheerleader. They're going to push you. They're going to tell you what you're doing, what's right and what's wrong. And sometimes you're not going to like it. And because they're going to tell you, look, you're doing this wrong, and you're like, no, but I don't like eating this. But you have to learn. And we are set in our ways, and we're like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. I just want to eat this and that and that. I'm like, I'm sorry, but they're like, well, I've done this before. Well, if that's worked for you before, why are you asking for help? Because if it didn't work in the past, that's how you are right now. So let's start changing the habits that you have to start moving forward. Because you could change the car as many times you want, and you could just try and drive it. But if you don't have the correct driver behind the wheel, you're not going to take the car anywhere.
There is the YouTube and the Instagram short, like real short. There's the slogan. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
You obviously you are operating at this level that is just insane. What are you doing to sustain that? And here's where I'm going with the question. What are you reading? What are some of your routines? Do you listen to any podcasts to help? Because as a coach, so many athletes are relying on you on that, like, different stages of take my hand. And so what are you doing to sustain yourself?
I'm not going to lie to you. There are moments that we break. We're human. There are moments. that I'm like, you need to talk. I'm like, we have to talk to other coaches. And there's, for example, I'm a level three coach for USA Triathlon, so there's only 34 of us in the country. So every month we have a call and we all talk about specific topics. And there are moments that we talk about depression. We talk about outlets because sometimes no one's going to understand the heartaches that we have to, the athletes, the drama that they bring to us. And we're like, okay, we're going to be fine. We're like, how many times are we going to talk about this? And we're like, oh my God, we have this athlete. And we're like, okay, what are we doing? And we have to find that outlet. And if it's exercise, if it's for example, there's one go-to that I listen to, and I've mentioned it I have mentioned it to you, and it's
Ah,
Goliath, and
you
it's
sent
called,
it
it's a
to me
YouTube.
twice.
Yes, yes, it's Goliath, and it's about David and Goliath. And for those who don't know about David and Goliath, it's in the Bible. And David was a small man, and he's facing Goliath, big, this big giant that he was with the Philistines. And so, when we as individuals, when we're fighting against the world, against our Goliaths, also these troubles, we just have to have faith. And I was brought up as a Jehovah Witness back in the day. I'm not practicing now, but I do believe in God, and I rely on him. And for those, or believe in whatever you do believe in, but it's like sometimes we have to have faith into the positive and into the good, that there's I'm like, one thing I believe, I'm like, and I get choked up when I talk about this. I'm like, always do good. Always do good, because you'll get so much more in return. And I won't lie to you. I'm like, I've had moments in which, everything is falling apart and you're trying to grow your business and you're like, oh my goodness, things don't work. But this is when you have your outlet of people that are there to support you, because you only need one person to say, I believe in you. And when you see that, and then they will come into the right moment and the right time, and they say, look, I got you. I got you. It's okay. We'll get through this together. And there are moments in my career that I have athletes who have left. And because the thing is, when they think they're too good or they think they're high and mighty, and you're like, look, we all started somewhere, and you try to humble them. It's like, look, no, you have to remember where you come from. And but you have that person that will come into your life and says, look, I got you. And or pray, and he will give you an outlet. And just like when David says, look, I'm like, David, God told David, grab that little pebble and run to him and hit him hard. And David was like this small. David's Goliath with his, and that little man go, "Bah, bah, 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 gah," take the man down. But he took him down because he had faith. And that is when people are not going to always believe in your dreams and your aspirations. They're not going to, but if you believe in them and you will strive towards them, don't ever, ever give up. Because I've been coaching for 25 years. 25 years, and I know I'm only 29. No. No, but I'm like, once I'm like, I said I'm gonna start coaching people, and I'm not gonna give up, and I'm gonna give faith and hope into people. And many people are, you're not gonna make it. I'm like, watch me. And if you have a dream, don't ever give up on your dream. It's there's a song of Sydney Christmas. It's called it's about a dream. It's she won British Got Talent. You should listen to her. She's really good. I went to see her in person. We became very good friends actually. And I'm like, she did not stop fighting in her dream, and she got rejected back and forth. But it's like, don't ever, ever give up. That's my token.
Hector, if people want to find you online, where can they
They
find
can
you?
find me on the gram, on Instagram. They could under TriPeak Athlete, or just type in tripeakathlete.com and just drop me a message.
Gosh, I knew. about you because of that podcast, which now you're hosting your own podcast.
Yes, yes, yes. I have to do another one coming up soon, so I'm very excited. I have
Coffee
to.
Time with Coach Torres. Is that right?
Yes, yes, it
Yes, I'm gonna
is.
listen to it on the drive home. I'm
Okay.
really excited. I didn't realize you had launched that. What is the
Well,
what is it?
I'm
What
doing so coffee time with Coach Jordan. I talk about different topics. The last one I did was talking about running shoes, but one thing I'm going to do one tomorrow actually with Dr. Melton. He's one of my athletes, and we're just going to talk about specific topics that as coaches and athletes go through, such as nutrition, hydration, but at the same time, it's all these taboos that we go through, that we hear, they're like, okay, is this true? Should we be doing this? Um, and one key thing is, especially that we were talking about yesterday, is about weight. I'm like, for example, I myself, when I started racing, they're telling me, "I'm like, oh, Hector, you're too big. You need to be thin to race." And we think that we have to be this certain weight to race. I'm like, no, 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 that's weight is just a number. You only need to perform. And we get all fixated. They're like, oh, these skinny little people, they're just like eating 1,400 calories and I be super fast. I'm like, no, you're just like depleting yourself and dying. But anyways, so but however, the society has put it out there. Look, oh, I read in Vogue magazine, I'm to be 1,400 calories, I need to be super skinny, and that's not the case. So that's one going to be the topics we can talk about is like, what is the correct racing weight for you? So it'll be great.
I'm gonna put that on as a reminder to listen to. I People are surprised when I tell them when I was training for a 100 miler, I was actually at my lowest rate weight and I was eating 2,300 calories a day. And my macros were my of course balanced for that, but people were surprised. I go, when you're training at that level, you need to eat to fuel the machine.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely, because your body's a furnace, and if you don't fuel it, you're just going to run out of gas. So,
100%. Yes.
mm,
And so, oh my gosh. So, final takeaway. If you had to distill your coaching philosophy down for the Sweet Mornings community, what would it be?
say that one more time. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you're fine. If you had to distill your philosophy for the Sweet Mornings community, what would that philosophy be?
Nike has a slogan that says, just do it. Why not? I was like, why not do it? I was like, shut out the noise. Just put one foot in front of the other. That's all you have to do. And trust in your coach. Trust in your coach, and then believe that the impossible is possible. Because if you do that, I'm like, you're setting a benchmark within yourself that you're going to step out of your comfort zone and become the best version of yourself. And if you do that and find the right coach to do it, the coach will help you grow and become the best version of yourself. That when you cross that finish line, when I tell all my athletes, do me a favor. I was like, once you hit the red carpet, many people start sprinting. I'm like, no, just stop for a second, for a millisecond, and just look back. Because when you look back, you're getting rid of the old you. And when you get rid of the old you, I'm like, because no one knows the struggles and tribulations that you went through that day. Because we all have medals in life. We all have ribbons in life that we put away in a cupboard and we store away, but we to forget what we battled that day. Let's take them out and remember the struggles we become. Because when you cross that finish line, you show to the world, you show to yourself, I did it. Watch me, and I did it again, and I did it for myself. And you shut out all thy noise because, like, look, I am happy for who I am. And if you don't like it, I don't care, but I'm happy with myself. That's all that matters.
I think you just gave me the title. Why not? The coaching philosophy of Hector Torres. I'm just kidding.
Why?
Why not is going to be in there, but I need to wordsmith it a bit.
Exactly.
And finally, I thought of this while you were giving us your philosophy.
Mhm,
Show up as the best version of yourself. You also
mhm.
dropped that, you show up like an oxen at a race or an ox. Um, if if Coach Torres showed up as his best self as an animal, what would that animal be?
A lion, because a lion is not the strongest animal in the jungle. An elephant is the strongest animal. I'm like, but The lion is fearless. He will walk in, I'm like, just like an eagle that will walk, that will fly into a storm. A lion will walk and demand respect because they will walk it, they will talk it, they will practice it. A lion is the best attribute that one could have because he's fearless.
So if this tells me anything, I know I made the right choice in my coach because one of my favorite, I mean, I'm a millennial. We were there with the memes when they first came out. And one of my favorite memes is a lion doesn't have to roar for you to know it's a lion. And I think of that when it gets hard and I'm doing the work. I don't it doesn't come down to just blasting it on social media. Oh, I'm doing this thing. Because if you're just talking about it and not doing the work, you're not going to have any fruit to show. So,
Amen.
yeah.